Hey guys, long time no see. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I do the base of my makeup, which is what you see here. And I'm going to be showing you guys how I prep my skin for makeup, what products I use, and what tools I use to apply my face of makeup. All right, let's get into it. The first thing I like to do before I apply any of my makeup is to cleanse and moisturize my skin very well. So my process for cleansing and moisturizing is, of course, I start with the cleanser. Right now I'm using African black soap. Then I use a rose water toner. Then I go in with, I believe I'm using Cetaphil right now for the moisturizer. And then I also use an under eye cream just to make sure that that under eye area is very well moisturized, and that's gonna help my makeup not to look cakey in that area. After I do that, I have started using this CoverGirl Prep Spray. The particular reason why I use this one is because I found it in an old gift from like 2-3 years ago. And since it was there, I was like, well, I'm just gonna use it. It's a prep and set water mist. It hydrates, preps, and sets. It makes skin look smooth. So I've been using that lately. And I just spray it all over my face. And I just let that dry and set before I go in with my primer. So for my primer, I am going to use e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This primer is honestly so good. So it's this kind of consistency. It's very thick, but it's like very cooling and like moisturizing as well. And it just feels really good like on my skin. So I'm just gonna press that in to my face using my finger. And I'm even gonna go down to my neck because I like to apply my foundation all the way down to my neck so that I don't have like that line of demarcation. So after I do my primer, I like to do my eyebrows. I have a full eyebrow tutorial on my YouTube page. Actually, that was the first makeup tutorial I did on this page, and so you can still find it there. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows really quick. If I was gonna do my eyeshadow, I would go ahead and do that. I'm not gonna do my eyeshadow today. That's definitely a separate video. See, I'm trying to work on the content to be more consistent. I'm trying, guys. After I do my eyeshadow and put on my lashes, then I do the rest of my face. So let's talk about what foundation am I using, that kind of thing. Juvia's Place, which you guys have seen this before. I was using Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation in the color Havana 420. There's a couple of different ways that you can apply foundation. You can use, of course, your fingers. I'm not really a fan of that. The other option you could do is like a flat top brush like this, and you could just, you know, apply the foundation to the back of your hand, dip your brush in, and then do, you know, a patting motion until you get your desired level of coverage. Or you could put it on the back of your hand, use a beauty blender, use the flat side of it to tap it into your foundation, and then dab, and blend it out until you get your desired level of coverage. I personally like both ways, just depending on what I'm feeling, what tool is clean at the time. So it's really up to you. For today's video, I'm gonna use a beauty blender. So the difference between using a beauty blender and a flat tip brush or flat top brush is the beauty blender, sucks up a lot of that excess foundation so that and I should mention too that before you use your beauty blender and you're doing like your cream and you like your liquid base, make sure that you make your beauty blender damp. Please make sure you make it damp before you start applying your product, okay? But anyways, applying foundation with a beauty blender, it gives you a sheer coverage versus using a brush. The brush is not going to take up or soak in that excess product. So all the product that you put in your face is going to still be on your face. Product that you use using your beauty blender, it's going to end up soaking up some of that excess, which personally I like. But then again, I also like the way the brush applies. So it's really just up to you. Whatever you want to do, whatever kind of look you want to go for. And I'm blending down to my neck because I want it to look as seamless as possible, right? I don't want to just stop right here and then my neck and my face is two different colors. Don't do that. Please don't do that. And I'm going up close to my hairline. Once I have my foundation on, now I'm going to do my concealer, which is also doubling as my highlight. I'm going to be using my LA Girl Proconceal in the color medium beige. And it comes with this applicator brush on the on the end. And so I am going to put that right here in the corner. That's a lot, so I'm going to spread that out. I'm also going to put it down the bridge of my nose. I'm also going to put it this area and right here, and a little bit right there. Now at this point, you're going to let it dry for about a minute or two. I'm just going to pop on a little mascara while I wait for this concealer to dry down a little bit. In about a minute or so, you can do one of two things to blend out your concealer, just like you did with your foundation. You can use a beauty blender or you can use a brush. Now this is one of my favorite brushes to use when it comes to like concealer and blending it out. This is a putty bronzer brush by e.l.f. Now this really isn't for concealer, but I like it because it's fluffy, it's kind of angled, and it kind of has a flat top. So I feel like it blends out my concealer very, very well. There are also times where I'll use a beauty blender and I'll use like the pointed side of it, get into that area right there. So it's really up to you, whichever way you want to do it. Once again, this is going to soak up that extra product. This is going to keep all your product on your face. I'm going to use the brush just to show you what I mean by like not picking up extra product. So all of that product that I put on my eye is still there. The brush has very little like extra product on there versus when I did the foundation on my beauty blender. See how much excess product is on the beauty blender, but on the brush there's hardly any. So that's what I mean when I say picking up extra product versus not. From there, I usually go ahead and set my face with setting powder. I'm using the same setting powder that I've used before, the I Am Magic setting powder by Juvia's Place in the color Kalahari. For the setting powder, once again, you can either use a brush or you can use a beauty blender. I personally like to use a beauty blender, a dry beauty blender. Let's put that out there too. You don't want to use a wet or damp beauty blender in powder, because powder and water doesn't mix, right? I'm just gonna dip my beauty blender, knock off the excess, and literally press it into those areas where I put my concealer. Okay. Now some people like to let it bake, some people don't like to let it bake. Personally, I haven't really found a way that I really like more than the other. Once I put it on there, I kind of let it sit for a couple of minutes, not a whole, I think like baking is supposed to be like 10 minutes or so, but I don't really know how long you're really supposed to let it sit. So I'll let it sit for a little bit. And then I'm just gonna take a fluffy brush. See, there's already some powder on it, but I'm just gonna take a fluffy brush and I'm just going to just dust off that excess powder. And I'm gonna do it very lightly. I don't wanna put a whole lot of pressure, because what I have found is if I put a lot of pressure when I'm dusting off powder, that it ends up moving my concealer around and my concealer looks patchy. So to avoid that, I just very lightly am dusting away, and I'm really patting. I'm not even doing like a sweeping motion. I'm really just patting away that excess powder, so that my concealer doesn't start moving around. So I've been adding some bronzer to my makeup routine. I got this color recently at Ulta. It's the Juvia's Place bronze palette in the color Dark. I did have the color medium, but it wasn't giving me enough like depth and like dimension like I really needed. Took that back, and I'm gonna try the dark and let's see what happens. I hope it's not too dark. I really hope it's not too dark, but we'll see. Ooh, this might be a little too dark. So I'm just gonna do it very, very lightly. I'm just gonna use this little fluffy brush. I'm gonna use this color right here. This color has a more of like a reddish color. I don't want red. I really want to keep it more brown and just add just a little bit of color to my face, right? And so where I'm gonna put this, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on my brush. Tap it in there, tap off the excess. And I am just going to dab it right here underneath my cheeks. Underneath my cheeks. And so that just added some more color back into my face, and it just kind of defined my cheekbone just a little bit more. I smile just a little bit when I'm doing like this bronzer and my blush, just so I can see where my cheekbones are, how my face changes when I smile, so that the placement of my makeup looks normal, if that makes sense. It looks natural, right? And I kind of think I brought this down just a little bit too far, but hey, it is what it is. All right, you can also place some along your forehead as well. Once again, I'm going in very, very light. I don't want a whole lot. From there, I'm going to do my blush. Now, my blush that I'm using is by Juvia's Place as well. This is in volume 4. When I apply my blush, I like to use a fluffy angled brush, just like this. And let's see. I'm gonna use this darker pink right here. So I'm just gonna tap it in there, tap off the excess. And see, I smile a little bit, and then I'm going to place it above where I put that bronzer. And I only use a little bit. I am not a heavy blush person. Heavy blush to me says Dynasty. Not doing it, okay? My blush will not be that heavy, but this is where I like to put it. And you see, like when I smile naturally, see, it looks natural, the placement where I put my blush. It naturally sits on my cheeks. How my cheeks lift up naturally sits there. And it brings, once again, brings color. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we are almost done with this base. The last thing I have been adding lately has been some highlight. So let's do a little highlight. For my highlight, I'm gonna be using the highlight in the Stack the Odds product in the color Cocktail Hour. I am a brand ambassador for Alleyoop. So if you like what you see with this product, you can click the link in my link tree, go to the website, order this product, and use the code SAFESPACE with Soraya for 10% off at checkout. This particular product though is a cream highlight. Now typically, since I've already put my powders on, you typically don't put cream on top of powder. You usually do, the order you usually do is your cream product and then your powder product, so your powder can set everything. Just use my finger, put a little bit of product on my finger. See, it's not a lot at all. And highlight usually goes on your cheeks. Like that. It goes on the tip of your nose. And you can put it in your Cupid's bow. The Cupid's bow is right here, that area above your lip. I like to put it in the corner of my eyes. Now for that part, I use a little brush, a little fluffy brush like this. And I just put a little bit on there and then just do the corner of my eyes like this. And probably in another video, I will definitely show you guys how to do my eyes and my lashes. But for now, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave it in the comment section because I would love to read them. Until next time, y'all.